My bad. You said that sex ed effectively sexualized children, and I was wondering if you had ever heard of the case in Delaware, close to where you're from in Connecticut, where a 10-year-old girl was able to finally tell her mother that she was being sexually abused by her father because she was able to learn sex ed from the It's Perfectly Normal book. Would you like to comment on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So one example does not mean that it impacts the majority at large. I would very much like to believe and know that the majority of people are not 10 years old being, sexually molested by their parents. What you're doing right now is pretty much what the government does. They find one extreme example and try to make everybody fearful that this is going on all the time. This is actually how they introduced sex ed. Everybody's just doing it, and that actually wasn't true. It's never in everybody. Can you find a somebody? Sure. What is the goal of government? Is there ever going to be something that's perfect? Can you create perfect laws? No, there's always going to be exceptions. You got to create the rule. You can't have the rule based on exceptions.
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today, guys, we're back here with a new video. Today, we're going to check it out. Candace Owens humiliates army of woke liberal clowns. This is going to be good. I would love to check this out, guys. I would love to check this video out. Let's get right into this video, guys.
Guys, to the people that are dressed up as clowns, you guys can literally come to the front. I'm just going to let them go first, just because I promised them, and then... Hi.
Okay, who's going first?
Is there still a mask policy here?
Hi.
Pardon? I just want to make sure I can hear you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, great.
Okay. So you like to learn, right? What did you learn from the Christchurch mosque shooting where 51 people died at the hands of someone who is influenced by you above all other people? How did you change your rhetoric after this person shot 51 people?
Great question. So what she is referencing, one of the craziest media firestorms I've ever been in my life, in New Zealand is what she's talking about. There was a mosque shooting, and at 51, I'll take your number for it, people lost their lives. And apparently, and I actually haven't followed up on the story because I've never been to New Zealand. I don't talk about mosques. I don't talk about Muslims, so it would be very weird if this would have anything to do with me. But apparently, they said that there was a online manifesto. I don't even know if that was officially attributed or if that was just early press. But they found a manifesto of the shooter online somewhere. Again, this was alleged early. I don't know if they've since debunked that. And apparently, the person listed Nelson Mandela as his #1 inspiration, alongside Spyro the Dragon, which I believe is a child's cartoon, Spyro the Dragon. Maybe it's a video game, I don't know. And Candace Owens. Yeah, I didn't feel like there was a lesson other than people are crazy, and we shouldn't give credence to homicidal maniacs when they're putting together cartoons and people that fought against apartheid plus a random American in their thought process. So I learned that that was clearly an ill person, and that any person who believed or gave credence to a manifesto should probably re-examine why that is. That's what I learned. Thank you very much for your question.
Perfect answer.
Next. It's next person. So we have a long line.
Hey, Miss Girl. Hey, Miss Girl. Sorry, that was so funny. I actually have here, I was talking to someone outside. It was like one of your merch people. I don't know.
Sorry, could you just be clear? It's a little, sorry.
I was talking to, oh my God.
That's good. No, that's good.
I was talking to one of your merch people or like something outside. And I mentioned that, I don't know if you know this about Pittsburgh. It's a very Jewish population. It's awesome. We have great food.
Pittsburgh. Great. Awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if he knows about our school. Yeah, very Jewish.
Great.
So I asked him, I was like, are you sure you want to bring Candace Owens in here? Because if I remembered correctly, and in my, not to toot my own horn, but I might have forgotten. I was like, you did say something about Hitler once that was weird. And he said, do you have a source? And I was like, hold on. So I got a source. I showed it to him. He was like, that's The Hill. It's like a tabloid. I was like, okay, that's fair. I looked it up. My first question is, do you trust Newsweek.com?
Do I trust?
Newsweek.com.
Oh, you can just get to your question. Let's just pretend that whatever you read was legitimate and just ask the question.
I can actually play your response.
Just ask the question. It's fine. Well, whatever you read is legitimate. I'm not going to try to debunk. Just tell me what it said and ask the question.
I know. Oh
yeah.
God. It's your words here.
No, okay, but just ask, let's just get to your question.
Okay. Here's the preamble. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. Okay. I think that the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Okay. Seems a lot like, globalism is what I don't want. Whenever we
She's
say
making no
nationalism,
sense.
the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. Okay, you could stop there, but it's okay if Hitler just wanted to make America great and oh my God. Oh, that was a really funny thing.
Can you just get to your question?
All right, ask
Yeah, do you have a question?
You have 10 seconds.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a filibuster.
It's okay if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well.
Mm-hmm.
It says here, adding that it would be problematic if he, quote, had dreams outside of Germany. Then the political commentator said that Hitler wanted to globalize and said she doesn't really have an issue with nationalism. He was
Okay.
a national socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine.
Okay.
The problem is that he had dreams outside Germany.
Okay.
He wanted to globalize.
Do you have a question?
What's your question?
She still
My
don't have a
question
question.
is, do you stand by that?
What did she say?
Do you stand by that?
Okay, thank you. I'm so glad we got there. It's just amazing. Okay, so everybody has seen this, and actually, I'm sure a lot of you watched my episode yesterday, so her timing is definitely great, where I had a rabbi on who brought this up. Candace said Hitler was okay. You probably have seen the viral clip of me in Congress, where a congressman tried to say, Candace said Hitler was okay, and that is definitively not what happened. Actually, I was speaking on stage alongside Charlie Kirk. Rather ironically, there was a room filled with Jewish people, including a Jewish journalist who interviewed me that night, and when I said whatever I said on stage, nobody cared. That was in November 2018. And then 4 months after that, in 2019, some journalists pulled out the clip out of context and tried to make it seem like I was saying Hitler was okay. So let me tell you what actually happened on that night. A person rose their hand in the audience after we gave a speech about, and obviously this is during the MAGA years, about this, need to return to having an identity, a national identity. And a woman asked the question, would you say that you're a nationalist? Because I feel like people are sort of afraid to embrace that term. And so I answered her. And I said, I don't have a problem with the word nationalism. Actually, I think a lot of the times the reason why nationalism, the idea of caring about having like your nation's identity and fighting for policies that are pretty much America first, gets poisoned because people wrongly attribute nationalism to Adolf Hitler. It's not like he was just some guy that was in Germany saying, oh, I just want to make Germany great. And then I went on to say, obviously, he invaded Poland. He had globalist ambitions. Like, none of this was okay. That was the end of it. But, of course, when you pull it out of context and you're a journalist who's trying to smear someone, you try to make it seem like the person, I didn't even mention the word Jews. There's not even a question about whether we were talking about Jewish people, the Holocaust, nothing. We were simply talking about the word nationalism and why people have hesitancy when they say that they are a nationalist or when they say that they're America first or whatever. So that was it. That was the end of it. There was no talk about saying Hitler was okay or this was great. It was just a topic about whether or not nationalism is rightly attributed or whether or not it is a dirty word. So I hope that provides some clarity for you.
Nope. Your question was like 20 minutes. Sorry, next. No,
I think we've given you really more than enough time. Next.
All right, so I was just okay. So I'm going to bring up something that you previously had said in the past, but you also brought up again in this speech, so it is relevant. You had talked about climate cooling. Well, actually, wait, before I do, I wish for your health, your continued health, the health of your husband and children.
Thank you. It's very sweet.
I just want that. I'd always try to start with that. You had said to Bill Maher on Club Random about climate cooling, and you again brought that up. And Bill pushed back on that, rightfully so, about how climate cooling wasn't ever really used in a large academic sense or a governmental sense. So I was just wondering if you would be able to tell me like any level of citation where that climate cooling comes into context outside of the geological formation of volcanoes, which does cause a climate cooling effect due to the ash coming into the atmosphere, causing extreme extermination events.
So I'm not able to provide you a citation because I'm on stage holding a microphone. What I said to you is that if you speak to people of prior generations, they'll tell you that their scare was different. I think it was the generation of the 70s who were told that the climate was going to cool and that freezing was a risk. Now, I can't tell you what happened in their classrooms. Obviously, I wasn't in there, but I can tell you that I bet if you asked around to some adults, they would tell you that they heard, there's some nodding their head right now, about global cooling. So I don't know what else to tell you other than people say that that was their scare in the 1970s. I wasn't making a defense for cooling or warming. I was just telling you that every time you are in a classroom and you're in high school, there's always a different climate scare that they're trying to tell you, and they've now finally landed on in your generation climate change. So I'm not, debating you on cooling. I can just tell you that they got it wrong, and then the earth started warming, and then they got it wrong again because the earth started cooling, and now they've landed on climate change. So I hope that clarifies what I was talking about, just the generational change. Thank you.
For future reference, try and wrap your stuff up, even if it's just
What does she mean by
Okay, thank
try
you.
to bug yourself
One
up?
more, make it good.
My bad. You said that sex ed effectively sexualized children, and
Yeah.
I was wondering if you had ever heard of the case in Delaware, close to where you're from in Connecticut, where a 10-year-old girl was able to finally tell her mother that she was being sexually abused by her father because she was able to learn sex ed from the It's Perfectly Normal book. Would you like to comment on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So one example does not mean that it impacts the majority at large. I would very much like to believe and know that the majority of people are not 10 years old being, sexually molested by their parents. What you're doing right now is pretty much what the government does. They find one extreme example and try to make everybody fearful that this is going on all the time. This is actually how they introduced sex ed. Everybody's just doing it, and that actually wasn't true. It's never in everybody. Can you find a somebody? Sure. What is the goal of government? Is there ever going to be something that's perfect? Can you create perfect laws? There's always going to be exceptions. You got to create the rule. You can't have the rule based on exceptions. There are exceptional things that happen all the time. If we said that, one person who got their license when they were age 21 got into a wreck on the day that they got their license, well, so nobody's allowed to get their license, that would be crazy. It's crazy. You have to talk about what the majority is. You have to talk about the majority percentage of experiences. And it is a fact that within 10 years after introducing sex education, the stats completely flipped and the majority of kids were graduating without their virginity, as opposed to prior to that when it was a very different society. Also, which you could say had an impact was that we used to teach the Bible at school. Like, people were basically, Christian. There was a lot more Christianity in the classroom, and that got removed after some lawsuits. I believe that was in the mid 60s that went all the way to the Supreme Court. But again, the goal of the government is to govern for the whole, not the, fringe minority of circumstances that happen. Doesn't make them any less sad or any less awful, but you can't then base laws and everything that you're doing on them.
True.
Hope that
That's all, you
helps.
guys.
Makes sense.
No, I don't care. You can only ask
Yeah,
one.
you've already asked a question, so we're going to go to the next one.
They're actually like clowns because they came here to just crack us up in a funny way because all their questions makes no sense for me. They all makes no sense. There's a little proportion of the population who wants their voice to be heard, who wants us to alter our rules, our constitution, our rules. They want us to change it for their own personal gains. It's crazy how these clowns think, because every single one of them, they're behaving too childish and too naive. I don't know who puts them up to this bullshit, but every single one of them, yeah, they're a disgrace, if you ask me. They're a big disgrace. I was shocked that they could ask such meaningless questions. I was expecting more from them, whereas they were just wasting our time. She had this girl with the purple hair. She was just blabbing. She don't know how to ask a question. She feel like she has a point, but okay, here's the mic. There's the opportunity for you to see your point out. She's blabbing. She's saying nothing. It makes no sense. I love how Candace Owens actually answered every single one of them in a very polite and humble manner. I love how she answered them because that was a perfect answer she gave every single one of them. They are just trying to get her words out of context. They're trying to frame her for saying something she never said. They don't want to read the entire thing or watch the entire clip. They just want to get a little portion of it and judge her by that. It's crazy. It's very, very crazy. Just like me watching a part of this video and judging. It makes no sense. You have to watch the entire clip so you know actually what's conspired, what actually happened. These people just want to just frame her because they have this space of hate in their hearts for Candace Owens. And none of them here came in a good faith. They all came with their anger or bitterness, if you ask me. Comment down below what you think about this video. Give us a thumbs up. Share this video to as many as you can. Subscribe to our channel, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.